the fact that we have chosen comfort over confrontation. And I want you all to understand that there's a difference between being argumentative and toxic, being a negative ninny, which I think will be a non-binary name, versus being confrontational in a healthy way. Oftentimes, I think when we hear the words confrontation, we get already angst in our chest and our emotions in our stomach. We start to wonder, like we start to immediately go to a place of, this doesn't feel comfortable to me. But I swear to y'all that confrontation can be one of the most beautiful, transformational things that could ever happen to you by yourself. And it could also transform some of the relationships that have been nearly ruined by an inability to agree to disagree, or state a difference of opinion, or even come up against systems that are hindering us. So often we don't want to have the conversation about, or we don't want to have the conversation because we're afraid of the confrontation. But the longer you linger in being afraid of the confrontation, the longer your soul feels betrayed in some ways, because it's not getting what it needs to function. That goes for all of us, whether we're able-bodied or disabled. There are some things that we just are going to have to confront in our lives. And truly, there are some people that we are going to have to confront. Let me give you a really small example of this in my personal life. I love my barber. Shout out to Quan. He has been my barber for the last almost three years, right? I found him. At first I was like, man, I can't find a great barber here in upstate New York. And I just happened to look up his shop, a shop that he was, he's a barber, he was working as a barber, and I chose him, and I love him. Not only is he a great barber, he's a great person. He's kind. He's affirming. He is talented, and he and I have developed such a great customer barber client relationship that I brought him, when I cooked greens last Thanksgiving, I brought him a plate, and he was like, Miss Shimmy or Shimmy, he was like, those greens were amazing. Now, I have always cared about my hair, whether it looked good or whether not. One of the things my mother did teach me is to care about this hair. And the confrontation that I'm having still is between myself and Quan, right? My barber. And it's because the confrontation I've had to have with myself over the last, I would say really like different waves and phases of it over the last 10 years, is that I have alopecia. Every woman in my family on my mom's side has suffered with alopecia. My mom has fiery orange brown hair, depending on what day it is, but she has a whole hair. My Auntie D that passed away last year, she became bald because alopecia had basically burned up and inflamed all her hair follicles. She didn't need cancer to do that because it had already done that years before. My Aunt Shang, my bestie, she has beautiful hair, but alopecia has robbed her of the thickness and the fullness, and I have it too. And yes, the annoying waves of inflammation that happen as a result of having a chronic illness like a long COVID or ME/CFS have further inflamed my follicles. Usually people say, well, go to the dermatologist but I don't have the money to buy the shot. So what I started doing was I said, I had to confront myself with the fact that, girl, your hair. Now, when my hair grows out, it looks beautiful. But when it's cut short like this, you start to see the holes, the baldness and stuff like that. Also, here's the thing, as a person who loves the barbershop and loves my hair, depending on what's happening with up here in the front line, it depends on how straight it is. And I love it straight sometimes. Super sharp depends on how much hair is up there. So I first had to confront myself about the fact that, oh man, I don't like how this line is coming out. Then I had to tell Quan, which is uncomfortable sometimes, because when we receive a service from somebody that we like, we oftentimes are like, okay, I don't want to confront them because I don't want to make them think I don't love their service overall. But he and I have actually had a lot of conversations every time I come and get a haircut, about 2 to 3 weeks, about what's happening with my hair. So I'm using Rogaine, and Rogaine got the hair on this side growing longer than it does on this side. And, we're trying to figure out how the line should go so it looks perfect again. But the real issue is that I have alopecia. And depending on how Rogaine works with my hair, depends on how the line looks. I don't want him to go too far, but I've had to have confrontations with myself and him and he about this. And I'm telling you, it has not always felt good, because we literally have to do surgery on my hairline because it's like it's balding up there, truthfully. And yeah, I used a little spray and stuff, the black spray, to make it look like it's something. And I'm okay with that, right? But we have to sometimes negotiate. I had to confront him about, how does this line look? And even after he's done, I sometimes have to come home and do my own thing. But the thing